Okay, Connor, let's go over your essay. Good job on your essay. You've got your body paragraphs together. I could tell that you wrote from your outline. I went through and looked for your dress-ups. I could find your LYs, your who whiches, your WW.Asias. Wasn't sure about quality adjectives. You're going to have to mark those for me. I couldn't tell your strong verbs either, although there were a couple that were underlined that I thought might be your strong verbs, so you're going to have to mark those for me. Did not find any spelling errors. Did not find any capitalization errors. Did find some punctuation errors, which we're going to go over in just a minute. Didn't find any usage errors. And our objective for this week is going to be to work on the introduction, writing your thesis statement, and writing your conclusion. You have it double-spaced, you have your title, you have your MLA heading, you have your running head. I can tell that you used your outline for writing. And so right now, before you even start the second process, you have 37 out of the 60 points. So you're going to work on, for this week, cleaning up a little bit of the punctuation and writing an intro and a conclusion to your paper. And then also marking these quality adjectives and strong verbs so that I can give you credit for those. It was an interesting topic, and you did a good job at getting your information down. So let's go over. I'm going to make this bigger. Let's go over your paper. And let me just track my changes so you can see. The first thing right here you have it usually builds. And one usually ought to be plenty. Usually it builds. So we'll go ahead and delete that. And another thing I want you to think about as you're doing your cleanup on your draft is your audience. Because when I read it, at first I just thought it was an informational, basic overview of bullying. And then when we get back here to your third topic, you start talking about how to overcome bullying. And you make this more of a paragraph to a student because you're using you and yourself. And so when you're rewriting this or when you're cleaning it up, you don't have to rewrite it, just kind of clean it up. I want you to think about your audience. Who are you trying to write this to? If this is something that you're writing to students, it's going to be different than the slant you're going to give if you're giving information to adults about what they can do and help them understand bullying. So you always have to consider your audience in your writing, and it seems to me like you've shifted your audience a little bit in this. So think about who your audience is and be able to tell me that. Okay, let's go back to some of these cleanups. Right here where you have, unlike direct bullying, indirect bullying is using other people to destroy the victim's reputation or hurt their feelings, and can include spreading rumors, turning the victim's friends against them, isolating the victim, or purposely getting them into trouble. And the thing about this is right here. Let's see if I can get my pen to work. Where's my pen? Like I've got it upside down. There we go. Right here, this comma, you don't need it, so we want to delete it. And let me tell you why, so that you can be aware of this. Unlike direct bullying, it's a good introductory little clause. Indirect bullying, okay, here's your noun, and you have a linking verb, and you have an adjective here. Is using other people to destroy the victim's reputation or hurt their feelings, and can. Now you can put a comma here if you have another subject. Let me put this as your subject noun. If you have another subject noun on the side of this and, because that would make it a compound sentence. And so there's a difference between a compound sentence and a sentence with compound parts. When you have a compound sentence, you do need a comma. If you just have a sentence with compound parts, you do not need a comma. And right here, you just have compound verbs. You can fix it two ways. You could delete the comma, or you can put you a subject noun over here. Either way is fine. Unlike direct bullying, indirect bullying is using other people to destroy the victim's reputation or hurt their feelings, and can include spreading rumors, turning the victim's friends against them, isolating the victim, or purposely getting them into trouble. And right here, I just want to point this out, how you used INGs for all of those. That's very good. That kept it parallel. So basically, if I was taking out all the dress-ups in the sentence, you could say bullying is using people. Bullying can include spreading rumors. Bullying is turning. Bullying is isolating. Bullying is getting. And so that's how those are all compound verbs. That's one way to fix it. Take it out, or you could put and it, and then you have a compound sentence because you have a subject on the other side of the comma. So two ways you can fix that. Let's go down a little bit. Right here, it can be difficult to tell someone if you're being bullied since it seems shameful. And let's get rid of this comma. Usually when we have our sentence followed by a www.asia, there's no comma. If our www.asia starts our sentence, then we put a comma. So those are just two little ways to help you remember a comma. Right here, when you put bullying can happen to anyone and everyone has a right to stop it, and you have it in quotes. You have it in direct quotes, but we don't know who said it. So you need to put in who said it. Or you can make it an indirect quote and take the quotes out. So there's several ways to fix a lot of these things. Let's go down a little bit. While some short-term effects are that it makes the target miserable and frightened, it may also leave physical injuries and damage or destroy the target's self-esteem. Right there, that's another instance. It may leave physical injuries, it may damage, it may destroy. So again, you have compound parts, which means no comma. If you want to make it into a compound sentence so you can have that comma, you're just going to have to put and it, let me look at it. It may also leave physical injuries and it may damage or destroy the target's self-esteem. So you can fix it either way, but right now you have compound parts with a comma. So you can have a compound sentence with a comma or compound parts with no comma. And again here, unfortunately, the psychological effects of bullying can last a lifetime and even lead to bullies and even lead the targets to become bullies themselves. Again, you've got compound parts instead of a compound sentence, and we could fix this by putting a subject on this side. The psychological effects of bullying can last a lifetime and even lead the target, and I guess it can even lead the targets to become bullies themselves. So this time, I'll just fix it with compound, make it a compound sentence, and the comma can stand. That just needs to be indented because that's starting a new paragraph. Judd charged the girls. Right here we need with stalking. Sedgwick slept in, how about in a recliner, and her sister slept on a couch. Their clothes were kept in grocery sacks. Not sure why you put that in quotes. It's okay. That's not being used in a unique way, which is what we usually put words in quotes for, like that. Right here, this sentence, Charlie Chris law firm, Sedgwick's mother, and I'm guessing Sedgwick's mother, I'm not sure what you're trying to say here. Charlie Chris law firm, Cedric's mother's lawyer, has filed lawsuits against the two girls and charged their parents. And again, we have these quotes. If this is something that someone said and you're directly quoting them, you're going to have to put their name in the body of this paragraph. And that is something we'll be learning later in other essays. You can give it a try now if you want to, or just paraphrase it, and we'll worry about how to do quotes in the body text of an essay later. But this just doesn't make any sense to me. Against the two girls. Charlie Chris law firm, Cedric's mother. Not sure where you're going with that. So get that kind of cleaned up. Here's our next paragraph. So go ahead and tab over that. Bullying causes damage. And this is when you start addressing your reader as you. To overcome bullying, the most important step is to realize that bullying should be kept to, here we go, yourself. You should talk to an adult you trust. Sometimes you may need to talk to more than one before you. And so it looks like you're addressing the victim of bullying. And if that's the case, you're going to have to write the other paragraphs differently, because you have to keep, one of the most important things in writing is to keep your audience in mind. And so you need to decide, who are you writing this to? Who are you writing this for? And if you're writing it for information, you're going to have to get rid of these yous. If you are actually writing it to address someone who's being bullied, then you can leave them in there. But generally in information and expository writing, we don't use any personal pronouns. To overcome bullying, the most important step is to realize that bullying isn't a secret and should not be kept as a secret. And so you're going to have to figure out a way to get rid of these yous. Bullying, which is always wrong, needs to be stopped. You should talk to an adult you trust. A victim of bullying should talk to an adult. How about a trusted adult? Sometimes you may need to talk to more than one before you find the right one, but shouldn't surrender. That sentence doesn't make any sense to me either. Sometimes you may need to talk to more than one before you find the right one, but shouldn't surrender. Sometimes a victim of bullying may need to talk to more than one adult before not sure. And there's several ways you can change this, so I'm just giving you suggestions. I'm going to leave the final changes up to you. Sometimes a victim of bullying may need to talk to more than one adult before, how about the problem gets resolved. Once you've decided to talk to an adult, pick a quiet time where they are on their own. And here again we have the you. So I've given you some examples of how to get rid of the you. You can restate your nouns. That's the easiest way. And then also when you're working on this, I want you to think about your audience. Who is this to? Is this an information piece for teachers, for parents, for students? It's going to make a big difference in the slant and how you're going to write this. And right now, this first part seemed like it was information for adults or for anyone. And then this paragraph right here started going into, it seemed like this was information for someone experiencing bullying. So one of your objectives for your next assignment is just to kind of clean it up with these, clean up this draft with these suggestions and think about your audience. So be sure you can tell me who your audience is. And we're going to add an introduction and conclusion. And we're also going to put your works cited page. You already have your works here. And all you're going to do is go down and insert a page break because you need your works cited page, where did it go, to be on its own page. And our MLA format just simply says that we should have works cited, centered on the page. You have a nice job here where you've had these hanging indents. I'm not sure why that doesn't line up. Okay. Let's go ahead and make sure that's all double spaced. I'm not sure why you've got it listed as a hanging indent. And it looks like you've written in these page numbers because you continue to have page 1. And so we're going to look at, you must have done it as a header. We're going to do a page number at the top. Oh, I did bottom. Sorry. Let me go back here. Page number, top of page, right here. And then put your last name. And then close. And then it should automatically change your page numbers for you. See, 1, 2, 3, 4. I need to get rid of that footer. Okay, so if you use that page number as your header for your running head, it'll automatically change your page numbers for you. So let me show you how I want you to do your intro and your conclusion. And you'll get your works cited page fixed up. And we've already talked about this a little bit, how a 5-paragraph essay looks. And basically what we have right now is your 3 paragraphs and your intro paragraph and your conclusion paragraph are what you're going to add. And your intro paragraph starts with something very general and ends with a thesis statement. And a thesis statement is going to give the 3 points of your body paragraphs. Then when you start writing your conclusion, you're going to restate your thesis, and then you're going to go out and make a general statement. So this is going to go to general, down to specific, because a thesis statement is very specific. Then you're going to restate your thesis, which is very specific, and move out to general. And when I say restate your thesis, I don't want you to just copy and paste the same sentence. You're going to restate it using different words, but say the same thing. So you're basically going to tell your reader, this is what you're going to read about these 3 things. And then when you get down here to your conclusion, you're going to say, this is what you just read about these 3 things. And then you're going to move out. So your thesis is going to basically say, our first paragraph is going to be about this, our second paragraph is going to be about this, and our third paragraph is going to be about this. And an easy way to think about writing your thesis is just to start with this basic guideline. This paper will discuss. And then you're going to put 1, which is that, 2, which is that, and 3. And that is basically a thesis statement, and it's just giving your reader information about what they're getting ready to read. And it makes it easy. It's like signs on the road saying, okay, first exit's this, second exit's that, third exit's that. And then down here you'll restate it. In conclusion, we have discussed 1, 2, and 3. And so your paper, your first paragraph, and we can look at your outlines for this. Bullying and its effects, the Rebecca Sedgwick case, and overcoming bullying. So for your thesis statement, you might say something about this paper will detail the effects. Oh, it won't let me write there. The effects of bullying. How bullying is now a legal issue. That's not a good way to, I'm going to let you think. I'm kind of thinking off the top of my head. You'll have time to kind of put it in your own words. And what to do to stop bullying. So that's going to be your thesis statement. You're going to start with something general. And actually, your first paragraph is pretty general. You took a lot of your information about the effects, and you kind of already have written an intro here because it's nice and general. Usually an intro includes a definition. You have a definition in here. What is bullying? Bullying is an activity meant to deliberately hurt or make someone feel bad. Usually it builds become a sequence of cruel, intimidating behaviors. So some of this is a great intro already because it defines it, and that is one of the things that a good intro does. It lets the reader know what they're getting ready to talk about. But what we need to put in here is our thesis statement because we need to tell the readers what they're getting ready to read. Your last sentence here, unlike direct bullying, indirect bullying is using other people to destroy the victim's reputation or hurt their feelings. And it can include spreading rumors, turning the victim's friends against them, isolating the victim, or purposely getting him into trouble. And then this sentence, bullying can have lasting effects on individuals. So that's going to be our first paragraph. Your second one is about Rebecca Sedgwick. Bullying can have lasting effect on individuals. It can end tragically, as in the case of Rebecca Sedgwick, and it can be stopped through how about education or through telling someone? And so this would be what I would call a thesis statement. It can have lasting effects. It can end tragically in the case of Rebecca Sedgwick, and it can be stopped through education. And right now, that's what I want you to do. But after you get your intro and conclusion written, we are going to tie this into our body paragraphs. So I'm just going to give you a hint about it, and you can actually work on this. This first one has to be right here. Bullying can have lasting effects on an individual. You don't want to say the same words, but you want to use some synonyms to let them know that we're getting into our first topic. Lasting effects of bullying. And so what I'm doing is I'm taking first part of this thesis, and I'm bringing it down here to let the reader know they're getting ready to read about our first point, lasting effects of bullying. Create how about psychological trauma? Anyone can be bullied. And you just kind of want to clean it up again. Children, teenagers, and adults. Bullying can have terrible and sometimes enduring psychological effects on its targets and the bully. So that the bully has psychological effects. So go ahead and as you're cleaning this up, think about your audience. And then your next paragraph, it can end tragically, as in the case of Rebecca Sedgwick. Go here. See, you already have a good topic sentence here. That's a good one. Just end in it. And then our last thesis topic, it can be stopped through education. Bullying causes damage, but through education, of how to handle bullying, it can be overcome. And so we used some of the key words from our thesis to start our main idea for our third body paragraph, our third topic. Okay, so you see how that works? An intro and conclusion. You have to write your body paragraphs first because you don't know what you're introducing. You've got a great start on this paper and this draft. You have your topics well defined. You had a good outline. You have some cleaning up to do. You're going to work on that intro and that conclusion, getting a thesis statement down. And let's just kind of see how you're going to start your... I'm going to insert a page break again. And let's just say this is your conclusion. Okay. And I took this right from your thesis statement, from the first paragraph, your introduction paragraph. Bullying can have lasting effects of individuals. It can end tragically, as in the case of Rebecca Sedgwick, and it can be stopped through education. So for your conclusion, when you're starting your conclusion, you want to restate this. And so you can copy and paste it, and then you're going to reword it, basically. Bullying can have lasting effects on individuals. I already found a mistake in my own typing. Bullying can have lasting effect on individuals. The lasting effects on victims of bullying can be carried for years. Can be carried, how about into adulthood? It can end tragically, as the case is. Okay. How about Rebecca Sedgwick's case is an example of how serious bullying can become and how the legal system is now involved. And it can be stopped through education. And through education, bullying can be stopped. And then from there, and you don't have to use my exact words, use your own creativity and your own thoughts. You've studied the topic. I'm just making stuff up from what little I know about it. And from there, you're going to go out to something very general and end with some insight. That's a very general insight about bullying. So that's kind of the process of getting your research paper done. And let me just kind of go over quickly, just review the steps of writing a research paper that you'll be using when you write. The first thing you've got to do, you've got to pick your topic, which you've done. You picked bullying. Then you narrow your topic. And usually for a research paper, you pick 3 topics. And then you find sources for those topics. Then you outline those sources. Then you write your drafts or summaries, which is what the stage you're at right now. And so you have your 3 paragraphs. And then you write your introduction and your conclusion. And then you dress it up, which you've already used your dress ups. I just don't know which are your strong verbs and quality adjectives. And then you format it, which you have your formatting done for the most part. And then the last thing that we'll do is we'll add our transitions, and this helps us get from one paragraph to the next smoothly. So right now, you're right here. You're going to be adding your introduction and conclusion. You're going to finish with those dress ups. The only formatting you really have to do is that works cited page. All the rest of your formatting looks great by following that MLA style. Your sources look like use the citationmachine.net. They look like they're in good order. And so these are the things. And we're going to be working on this next time, so don't worry about it right now. Just work on that intro and getting that thesis down and following those steps to writing an introduction and conclusion. Once you have your body paragraphs done, the intro and conclusions almost write themselves because you know where you're going and you just kind of have to put it in a systematic order for your reader. You've done a great job on getting this topic together. And since we are on break, I'm not putting a due date. Just get it back to me. Send it through Jupiter Grades. And when you send it to me, text me on my phone because I haven't been checking my Jupiter Grades every day. So text me on my phone when you send it back to me. And my phone number 7392285. So text that to me. Say I sent in my research paper and you're ready for the next step. Good job again. That's the end of the video.